In this video, we are going to talk about what life is really like for older men who live alone. Many people think it is only about loneliness, but that is not the full truth. Living alone also brings strength, freedom, and important life lessons. We will share the real experiences, both the challenges and the positive sides, that come with this way of living in later years. By the end of this video, you may see living alone in a very different light. Before we begin, I would love to know, do you or someone you know live this way? Please share your answer in the comments and also tell us the state you are watching from. Your story can help others feel connected and supported. Truth number 1, a life of self-reliance. One of the most powerful truths about older men who live alone is the way they learn self-reliance. At first, it may not seem easy. Many men grew up in a time when cooking, cleaning, and daily household work were not expected of them. Some may have relied on their wives or partners for years. But when they find themselves alone, everything changes. Suddenly, the small tasks, preparing meals, doing laundry, paying bills, become their own responsibility. At first, it might feel overwhelming, but with time, it turns into something much greater, a source of pride. Self-reliance builds confidence. Every time a man cooks a meal for himself, keeps his home in order, or manages his own schedule, he proves to himself that he can stand strong on his own. Psychologists say that autonomy, being able to take care of yourself, is one of the keys to well-being in older age. Instead of feeling dependent or helpless, self-reliant men discover a new rhythm of life. They learn that solitude does not mean weakness. It can actually strengthen their identity. Take the example of George, a 72-year-old who lost his wife years ago. At first, he couldn't even boil pasta without burning it. But over time, he began to practice and slowly found joy in cooking. Today, he tries new recipes and even invites his neighbor for dinner now and then. For him, managing his own home became more than survival. It became self-expression. That is the hidden gift of self-reliance. It allows men to not just get by, but to grow. And here's something important. Living alone doesn't mean being cut off from others. In fact, many men become more deliberate about reaching out. They call friends, join community groups, or spend time with family in a more intentional way. Instead of waiting for companionship, they create it on their own terms. So when you see a man living alone, don't assume he is lonely. Often he is building inner strength, learning new skills, and living with a quiet pride that only comes from knowing he can rely on himself. Self-reliance is not about what is missing, it is about what has been discovered. Truth number 2, a home that reflects the soul. Another truth about men who live alone is how their home becomes a mirror of who they are inside. When there is no partner deciding on furniture, curtains, or decorations, the living space reflects the man's personality in its purest form. Some homes may look simple and practical, while others may be filled with memories, collections, or hobbies that matter deeply to them. Every object, every chair, every picture on the wall tells a story. For many men, this freedom is something they never had before. They no longer need to compromise or adjust their preferences. A favorite chair, a shelf full of books, or a wall covered in family photographs may not impress visitors, but to them, these things carry comfort and meaning. A home without outside influence becomes a sanctuary, a place that feels safe, honest, and personal. Psychologists remind us that the environment we live in directly affects our mood and health. When older men create spaces that reflect their true selves, it lifts their spirit and reduces stress. It can even encourage healthier routines, like reading more, listening to music, or keeping the space tidy because it feels like their own. Take Henry, a 70-year-old man who fills his home with model trains he has collected for decades. To others, it may seem like clutter, but to Henry, every train is tied to a memory, a story, or a moment in his life. His home isn't about impressing anyone. It's about surrounding himself with what makes him feel alive and content. Some might say a man's home without a woman's touch feels incomplete, but that is not true. It's simply different. It shows individuality instead of compromise. It's not about matching rugs and curtains. It's about whether the man feels peace and belonging in his own space. In later years, that authenticity becomes priceless. Truth number 3. A rhythm shaped by choice. When a man lives alone, one of the biggest changes he experiences is that his daily rhythm is completely his own. There are no compromises about what time to eat, when to go to bed, or how weekends should be spent. Every decision, big or small, comes from his own preferences. This freedom may seem ordinary, but for older men it often feels like reclaiming ownership of their life after decades of responsibilities, routines, and adjusting to others. Waking up when the body feels ready, enjoying coffee just the way he likes it, choosing how to spend the afternoon. These small acts give a sense of stability and independence. Psychologists say routine is important for mental health, especially in older age, but what matters even more is having control over that routine. When a man shapes his days according to his own needs, it reduces stress and strengthens his identity. Take Albert, a 71-year-old who starts every morning in his small vegetable garden. He waters the plants, checks their growth, and takes joy in harvesting fresh tomatoes or herbs. This rhythm grounds him, gives him purpose, and keeps him connected to the cycle of nature. Nobody tells him he's wasting time or should do something else. That freedom makes his days more meaningful. Of course, living alone also means the responsibility rests on his shoulders. Some men may slip into unhealthy habits, staying up too late, skipping meals, or spending too much time in isolation. But many learn to balance freedom with discipline, creating a rhythm that supports both health and happiness. The beauty of this independence is not only in what they do, but in knowing they are the ones deciding. That sense of choice, even in the simplest matters, protects dignity and brings quiet satisfaction. It's a reminder that life, even in later years, can still be shaped on your own terms. Truth number 4. A silence that speaks volumes. Silence is one of the most noticeable parts of living alone. At first, it can feel heavy, even uncomfortable. But over time, many older men discover that silence is not empty, it is peaceful. Without the background noise of another person's voice, TV shows chosen by someone else, or constant chatter, there is space to hear one's own thoughts clearly. Silence can become a companion rather than a burden. Psychologists often say quiet environments can lower stress, help regulate blood pressure, and give the mind room to rest. After years of busy work schedules, raising families, and handling daily responsibilities, silence allows older men to recharge and reconnect with themselves. It becomes a chance to reflect on life, appreciate small details, and enjoy moments of calm that might have been rare before. Take Walter, a 69-year-old who says his favorite part of the day is early morning. He makes a cup of tea, sits by the window, and listens to the birds outside. For him, silence is not loneliness, it is healing. It gives him time to think, to pray, or simply to be grateful for another day. Of course, there are moments when silence can feel too deep, almost like loneliness. The difference comes from how it is used. Some men fill the silence with music, others with reading, or even with simple mindfulness. The key is that the silence belongs to them, and they choose how to shape it. Living alone teaches that quiet doesn't have to mean emptiness. It can be a powerful source of peace, reflection, and balance. In a world full of noise and distraction, silence becomes a gift that strengthens the spirit. Truth number 5, a freedom to shape time. One of the overlooked truths about living alone is how time begins to feel different. Without another person's routine to follow, a man has complete freedom to decide how each day will unfold. He can wake up early or sleep in, eat whenever he feels hungry, and spend the hours doing what brings him peace or joy. At first, this freedom may feel unusual, even unsettling. But soon, many discover that it is one of the greatest rewards of solitude. For older men who have spent decades working on strict schedules or caring for family needs, this control over time feels like regaining ownership of life. There is no pressure to rush, no deadline set by others, no expectations to meet. Instead, time becomes personal, something to be enjoyed rather than endured. Psychologists often link this sense of autonomy with higher levels of happiness and well-being in later years. Take Edward, a 72-year-old who loves watching old Western movies. Now, he doesn't worry about keeping someone awake if he stays up late. Other days, he wakes early, just to take a quiet walk before sunrise. His afternoons are free for reading, tinkering in the garage, or napping when he wants. Each choice, big or small, reminds him that his time belongs to him. This freedom does not mean wasting hours, it means savoring them. A simple meal can be enjoyed slowly, without hurry. A hobby can take as long as it needs without interruption. The days are no longer about meeting obligations, but about finding joy in the hours. For men living alone, shaping time on their own terms is a quiet but powerful gift. It makes life feel lighter, more flexible, and more deeply their own. In later years, this freedom is not just comfort, it is dignity. Truth number 6, resilience that grows in solitude. Perhaps the most powerful truth about older men who live alone is how solitude itself becomes a teacher of resilience. In the beginning, being on your own can feel heavy. The quiet may seem overwhelming, and daily tasks can feel like challenges. But as time passes, many men discover that every small responsibility they handle, whether it's cooking a meal, fixing something around the house, or paying bills, adds to their inner strength. Resilience is not only about surviving big struggles, it's about managing everyday life with confidence. Each time a man learns a new skill or solves a problem by himself, he builds trust in his own ability to handle whatever comes his way. Slowly, solitude transforms from something to fear into something that builds courage and peace of mind. Take Samuel, a 70-year-old who once felt lost after retiring. At first, his empty apartment felt unbearable, but step by step, he taught himself to cook, keep things organized, and even repair small household issues. With each success, his confidence grew. Today, Samuel says his independence is one of the things he values most. Instead of feeling helpless, he feels prepared for life. This kind of resilience also shows up emotionally. Loneliness can creep in from time to time, but men who live alone often learn healthy ways to cope. They might read a book, take a walk, call a friend, or simply sit quietly and reflect. These choices keep their spirit steady. Psychologists often describe resilience as the ability to bounce back quickly. For older men living alone, resilience becomes second nature. Solitude teaches patience, adaptability, and quiet strength. It proves that life, even without a partner by your side, can still be lived with dignity, courage, and pride. Living alone in later years is often misunderstood. Many people think it is only about sadness or emptiness, but as we've seen, it can also bring strength, freedom, and dignity. Self-reliance builds confidence. A home becomes a true reflection of the soul. Routines give peace. Silence becomes a source of healing. Time feels like your own again. And resilience grows stronger each day. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs of wisdom and courage. If you are a man living alone, remember this. Your life is not defined by what is missing, but by what you are creating. You are shaping your days, protecting your independence, and showing that later years can still be full of meaning and purpose. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What did you learn from today's video? And how does it connect to your life or someone you know? Please share your answer in the comments. Your story may inspire others who are walking the same path. And if you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe so we can continue bringing you more content that supports and uplifts.